Overnight, Russia launched another ballistic missile attack on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, leaving at least one person injured, as Ukrainian media reported at least 5 explosions. The strike set fire to 2 residential buildings and several nearby cars, while another large blaze broke out at the Petrovka market. Russia also targeted other regions across Ukraine with ballistic missiles and attack drones, including the cities of Kremenchuk, Kamyansky and Kryvyi Rih. In response, Ukrainian forces targeted a wild berries warehouse in the Moscow region with drones. The retailer, which lists military-related goods, including drone components and body armor, was sanctioned by the EU in July for contributing to Russia's state budget. Ukraine has recently been regularly striking infrastructure deep within Russia and the occupied territories in an effort to diminish the Kremlin's ability to continue the war.
Vladimir Putin outlined his goal for 2026 during a secret briefing with senior Russian officials late last year: NATO and the EU's internal collapse. According to the New York Times, which reported on the plan citing unnamed sources, the plan centered on Moldova, where Russian operatives allegedly sought to derail President Maia Sandu's pro-European government through vote buying, cyber attacks, disinformation, and payments to Orthodox priests to promote anti-EU messages. A plot that pro-EU Moldovan political forces took notice of as the votes were being cast.
There is a lot at stake in these elections for our country. If Moldovans are strong enough, and despite the massive interference of Russia, will decide for themselves, Moldova will have the chance to continue to strengthen its democracy, to protect its peace, and to continue its EU integration path.
In its report, the New York Times also said that Western intelligence claims Moldova ranks second only to Ukraine among the Kremlin's regional priorities. The small former Soviet republic lies between Ukraine and NATO member Romania and is home to the breakaway region of Transnistria, where Russian troops are stationed. Officials said Moscow views Moldova as a potential foothold for operations against both Ukraine and Europe, while Putin still hopes to seize territory across southern Ukraine that would create a land bridge to the country. The Russian campaign reportedly intensified ahead of Moldova's parliamentary elections in September 2025, when Moscow allegedly sought to weaken Sandu's pro-European Action and Solidarity Party. Moldovan authorities carried out hundreds of raids before the vote and arrested people linked to alleged vote-buying operations, thwarting the plot in its tracks.
Romanian authorities reported on Sunday that a drone violating the country's airspace was shot down in an operation carried out by a Spanish fighter jet as part of a NATO air patrol mission. NATO spokesperson has said the drone appears to be of Russian origin. Raiders detected it entering the country from neighboring Moldova, some 24 kilometers north of the southeastern Romanian city of Galați. This is the 4th unmanned aircraft shot down in Romania this year. The NATO member shares a 614-kilometer land border with Ukraine and over the past 4 years has repeatedly experienced airspace violations along its eastern border, as well as sea mines drifting into key Black Sea trade and energy routes.
The war in the Middle East is taking a new, unexpected turn. Donald Trump recently announced fees for ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. And now,
defeating Iran, which is being very badly defeated. Pretty soon I'll be declaring the Hormuz Strait a territory of the United States.
The audience cheered wildly with the announcement that the Strait of Hormuz might become part of U.S. territory. Iran's deputy foreign minister was quick to respond on X.
Trump has said that after Iran's defeat, he will soon declare the Strait of Hormuz as U.S. territory. The Strait of Hormuz cannot be seized by tweet, nor by aircraft carrier, nor by issuing an order, nor by an election speech.
The closure of the Strait of Hormuz continues to block 1/5 of global oil supply, and while the closure appears to have generated some funds, it's not a total win for Iran. The Iranian leadership on Saturday blamed the nation's skyrocketing inflation on the U.S. blockade of its maritime oil ports.
Production costs have gone up. Our income has also decreased. We used to sell oil, but now we cannot go on selling it. They have destroyed a number of factories and we cannot collect taxes from them in the same way.
The U.S. is also not escaping unscathed. Its own financial markets on Friday closed lower as investors digest the impact of regional instability. In the wider Middle East, related military conflicts are ongoing, both in the south of Lebanon and in Yemen's port of Mocha near the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Houthi forces in Yemen launched multiple ballistic missiles toward the port on Saturday. Israel, initially the U.S.'s partner in attacking Iran, is now focused on territory the Israeli forces are occupying in the south of Lebanon. The Israeli military has confirmed strikes on Hezbollah targets in the area. And after a U.S. sailor recently went overboard the USS Abraham Lincoln in an apparent psychological episode, U.S. lawmakers are raising concerns over crew well-being as the deployment enters its 9th month. The U.S. appears to be struggling to adequately provision its overstretched Navy. The ship has just set a modern record for consecutive days at sea during the ongoing conflict.
One of the challenges in the Middle East is you can't get into port in the Persian Gulf right now, so they're having to bring everything around, in some cases, via the Horn of Africa, because they can't get through the Red Sea in some conditions. So it's being very difficult to resupply the ship with just basic materials, like toiletries and some kinds of food, certainly fresh food, so fresh produce, fresh fruits and vegetables. That's not getting to the ship in these conditions.
For his part, President Trump seems committed to an extended stay for U.S. service members in the region.
U.S. service members are concerned about the conditions on board the USS.
Well, no, that ship is moving. No, they're not. That ship is moving right now, or very shortly, and it's being replaced with another very similar ship.
Has the deployment gone on too long?
No. Not nearly long enough. Thank you, everybody.
For TVP World, Randy Potts.
Record-breaking wildfires are raging in Belgium and Croatia, consuming thousands of hectares of land. Firefighters are working around the clock to bring the life-threatening blazes under control. Intense wildfires are raging across Croatia's Dalmatia region, spreading rapidly due to strong winds. Local authorities report that the flames have reached the tourist town of Omiš, leaving one person dead, injuring approximately 40 others and forcing 1,200 people to evacuate. Belgium is battling the largest wildfire in its history. The European Union sent 3 helicopters and 2 firefighting planes to help combat the blaze in the High Fens Nature Reserve in eastern part of the country, where the fire has been raging since Friday. By Saturday evening, 2,700 hectares have burned, nearly doubling the area affected by the country's 2011 major fire. Prolonged drought and several heat waves have created ideal conditions for forest fires to break out across Europe. Experts attribute this to climate change.
Of course, climate change is one key reason here. When we warm our atmosphere, it means it could take more water from the vegetation. It can dry out the vegetation more, and that simply means the vegetation becomes more flammable. We see a lot more fires around the world, not everywhere, but particularly in the northern hemisphere, especially in boreal areas, and especially in the Mediterranean region. And when it burns, those fires are often more severe than they used to be.
The old continent continues to grapple with the effects of climate change, as experts warn that Europe is likely to experience an increase in forest fires in the coming years.